Let's rainbow dye some more wool with food color, which makes this dyeing method safe and easy to use in any kitchen. It's also fun to do with children because there are no hazardous chemicals involved. For more information on this kind of dyeing, look at Dyeing to Spin video number 1, where I do a rainbow pot of locks. This is just another way to do it. I've been soaking about twice as many locks as I did last time in water for about 30 minutes. Now I'm going to take them out of the water. I'm trying to video with one hand and work with the other. Squeeze out most of the liquid. Don't wring or twist, just squeeze the locks out. Now I'm going to lay them in my pan. I'm not as worried this time about getting the locks all laid in neatly or headed in the same direction. I've also got a lot more of them. Now I'm going to pour on red, yellow, and blue food color that I have mixed with a little bit of water and a little bit of vinegar. Probably 2 tablespoons of vinegar to 1/4 cup of water. Then I put 5 drops of food color in each measuring cup. This is going to give me more of a diluted color. I'm not going to pour this in any particular pattern this time. I'm just going to pour it all around. And because, remember last time I just used a few drops. This time I'm putting in quite a bit of liquid. There's the red. Now the yellow. I'm using the primary colors because no matter how they blend, I'm not going to get mud. If I use red and then I mix in green, I can get brown. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow right in here. Now the blue. I may not use quite as much blue. Blue tends to really kind of take over. Again, this is the kind of dyeing you never know exactly what you're going to get until it comes out of the dye pot, which makes it fun. Not anything you can repeat very well. I'll put some more blue in the middle. But it sure is a fun way to dye. Well, I did use all the blue. Now I'm going to just tap it down a little bit. I don't want to stir it around. Just tap it down. If some of the locks are still a little bit white, that's fine. Because there isn't as much water in here, I don't want this to fry when I microwave, so I'm going to cover it with plastic. The plastic is on. I'm not going to seal it real tight for a couple reasons. The steam will build up inside. The other than when I take it out and remove the plastic, you have to be very, very careful because it gets scalding hot and you can really burn yourself with the steam. I'm going to microwave this for 5 minutes and then I'll check it. My microwave has a turntable and is fairly powerful. Out of the microwave and ready to cool off. I've already released a corner of the film so the steam has come out, and this has actually been sitting on the counter about 5 minutes. I'm going to let it sit about 5 minutes more before I unwrap it, just to be sure I don't burn myself. Here it goes, the unveiling. You can see a lot of pastel color. The wool is still very hot. Now I want to let it cool before I put water on it. You do not want to put cold water on hot wool. That's a great way to felt it. So I'm just going to let it sit, and I'll be back to rinse it off in about 30 minutes. The wool is cool, and I'm ready to rinse it. Remember, you don't want to run water right on the wool, so I'm letting the water run over my hand. if there was a lot of color in this water, it would mean that the dye hadn't all been taken up into the wool. That could be caused by not heating it long enough so that it wasn't hot enough for the dye to take, not using enough vinegar, which sets the dye, or simply using too much dye and there was no way the wool could absorb it all. If you don't rinse off the excess dye, when you're spinning, it will come off in your hands and it will rinse off later when you're washing the wool. That's called crocking. This is perfect. Now I'm going to pick it up and squeeze out the excess water, and you can see there's a little more white on the bottom. I'm not worried about keeping the locks all straight. I'm just going to wring out the excess water, lay it on a towel. Now this is much more pastel, so you'll get different effects with this. I'm going to pat it dry. Now it's ready to lay out in the beautiful Arizona sun to dry. I'm out in the bright sunshine. I've spread the fleece out so it can dry. It'll dry very quickly out here. It's probably going to be 90 within the next 30 minutes. I have not pulled the locks apart. I didn't worry too much about keeping them perfect like I did in video number 1, but I don't want to pull them open. That just gives me more options when it comes time to use the fleece. I can flick card, I can card them in on a drum card, and I want to leave myself the most options that I can.